You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works, and all them politicians down there and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Because if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something.
Absolutely.
You know what we gotta do?
Toga party. Toga! 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 Toga!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're going to lock me up and throw away the key.
Well, all right. It's Friday night, which means it's time for Robinson and Wright. That's right. After a 2-week break, we're back. The bosses tried to change the codes on the doors, but I hacked in anyway. So we are back. I am one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. He's the other half, Mr. Dan Wright. And we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Starting with Team America World Police apparently back on the beat. And I'm saying that sarcastically for those of you that think I'm cheerleading the fact that we're currently bombing Syria. Not a happy camper. Just saying.
No, we need to stop it.
You ever notice how it happens every time? Somebody runs for office, they tell us that if they get elected, they're going to stop us from being the policemen of the world, and yet every time they get in office, we become the policemen of the world yet again. The only time that didn't happen really was with Obama, but he was so busy doing a world apology tour, nobody wanted us to be the world policemen anymore anyway. It's one thing to make us look like we're running around bending over, taking it wherever anybody wants to put it, but it's another thing to basically just say, 2 weeks ago I was saying we're getting out of Syria, which I told nobody I was ever going to do anyway, and then 2 weeks later I'm telling everybody we're going to bomb Syria, even though I told everybody I was never going to do that anyway, and now we're bombing Syria. Yay, go Team America.
War is not war anymore.
There's no such
what
thing.
It is,
What
it is, you did something we don't want you to do, so we're just going to bomb you for a night and let you sort it all out so that everybody else thinks we're jerks. They want us to go. They want us to do that. You know, when is it, you know, I saw somebody say it the other day, somebody who you know as well. They said, when is it that the neighbors of these countries are going to do something? If the neighbors don't want to do something, why should we get involved?
Well, you know,
why?
I mean, I really don't understand why we're here or what we're supposed to be doing. Because I don't get it. I mean, and yeah, I mean, for once, at least, you know, this time we're not doing it unilaterally. Apparently, it's a combined effort with France and the UK. So, I mean, it's at least better than I thought it was going to be. Because usually he's the first guy to pull the trigger, and everybody else is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I have a button. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have lots of audio, so maybe some of the audio will kind of explain it. So apparently, so let's take a look here. Hang on. Let's play this one real quick.
Tonight, I want to speak with you about why we have taken this action. 1 year ago, Assad launched a savage chemical weapons attack against his own innocent people. The United States responded with 58 missile strikes that destroyed 20% of the Syrian Air Force. Last Saturday, the Assad regime again deployed chemical weapons to slaughter innocent civilians, this time in the town of Douma, near the Syrian capital of Damascus. This massacre was a significant escalation in a pattern of chemical weapons use by that very terrible regime. The evil and the despicable attack left mothers and fathers, infants and children thrashing in pain and gasping for air.
Terrible.
And I mean, it is terrible. So I don't want anybody to think that we're getting to get the wrong idea. I'm not saying this isn't bad, and I'm not saying that Assad should be dealt with if he's the one that's launching these chemical weapons attacks against his own people. But I'm saying, why do we always have to be the ones stepping up and taking the brunt of it when the rest of the world hates us already anyway? I mean, look, here's my thing, and this has always been my thing, because for some reason we have this idea ever since World War II that we have to be the world's police force. Which I get it. We have white knight syndrome in this country. We've done it for pretty much every political war action we've ever been in. We're usually racing off to somebody's rescue. So I get that part of it. But if we're going to be Team America World Police, let's just embrace the fact that we're going to be Team America World Police and stop telling everybody we don't want to be Team America World Police, because every time we have a chance to not be Team America World Police, we decide to be Team America World Police. So if we're going to be the world's police force, let's start doing what regular police forces do and levying taxes on all these places that we're protecting. Because if we're going to be doing this, we might as well be getting something out of it, because I'm so tired of being the world's police force. And I understand that these people are monsters, and I understand that chemical weapons are banned. But that's why we have this group called the United Nations. And I understand that we are one of the biggest parts of the United Nations, but why do we always have to be the one to step up and make the United Nations do anything? They keep acting like they don't need us, so let's let them move themselves to France or Great Britain or wherever and see how well they do without us, because I am tired of having to pick up the rest of the world's messes. And if that makes me sound heartless, then you can say whatever you want to say, because I don't care. We have been at war. We've been at war since 2001, in one form or another, since 2001. This is 2018. We have been at war for 17 years. And every time we talk about stopping, we find another excuse to do it again. I'm over it.
Well, yeah, and you bring up the wonderful, just, I don't even want to, I don't want to get into what we put in monetarily to have every other country think we don't do enough. Honestly, I'm sick of it. When it comes to everybody else, if you look at, we discussed this last time we were on the air, when we discussed Rand Paul going over the omnibus bill. The money we give the United Nations and the rest of the world is astronomical. We are literally supporting half the world. And we are looked at as the biggest a-holes on the face of the planet. I don't believe in isolationism. I don't. I think isolationism is a bad thing. But when do we get to the point where we start cutting back on what we give to everybody else? We have people here that could really use the money, but we're giving it to somebody else. We have veterans starving in the streets with terrible health care. We have families that can't get assistance, but assistance is going not only to the rest of the world, but illegal immigrants in this country. When is it that we start supporting the citizens in this country that are actual citizens that pay taxes and that have served this country? When is it that the money starts going to them instead to everybody else that sticks their finger up at us and says, you're an asshole, now give me my billions of dollars you said you'd give me? That's what's really starting to bother me. We have to help everybody else, and everybody else hates us. You know what? If they all want to hate us, let's start giving them a reason to hate us. I don't believe in isolationism. I don't. But there comes a point in time where it's time for some tough love, and you need to figure it out on your own. You need to figure it out. We're not going to come in and figure it out for you so that you can stick your finger up at us. I'm done with it.
Oh, no, remember in that part of the world, they show you the bottom of their feet.
Right.
So, actually, I want to play one other clip because this is President Trump explaining the purpose of the actions they've taken so far tonight. So, I think that might be interesting to listen to because I don't know about you, but all this broke while I was at dinner with the wife, so I'm playing catch up. So,
the purpose of our actions tonight is to establish a strong deterrent against the production, spread, and use of chemical weapons. Establishing this deterrent is a vital national security interest of the United States. The combined American, British, and French response to these atrocities will integrate all instruments of our national power, military, economic, and diplomatic. We are prepared to sustain this response until the Syrian regime stops its use of prohibited chemical agents.
So, just to backtrack a second, because this is the part that really confuses me. Because if you go back just a few short years, back during the Iraq War when President Bush said that there were chemical weapons in Iraq, and everybody said no, there weren't. And then we found out years later that there were convoys of trucks that were leaving Iraq and heading towards Syria. And everybody's, yeah, but they didn't have the chemical weapons on them. So fast forward a little bit. So now Syria is using chemical weapons. But if you rewind just a little bit from today, back to what was it, 2010, 2011-ish? And maybe it was 12, 13-ish. I seem to remember a certain Secretary of State, not the one that can't climb stairs, but the one that looks like the California raisin dude, telling everybody that, first of all, Syria didn't have chemical weapons, but then they found out they did have chemical weapons, but then Barack Obama waved his magic wand and all the chemical weapons in Syria disappeared. So if that's the case, if they didn't have these weapons, but then even after we found out they did actually have these weapons, they magically disappeared, how in the hell are they still using chemical weapons in Syria if Barack Obama made them get rid of all of them?
Because he didn't.
So the short answer is we are yet again cleaning up another mess from the Obama administration, which I don't even think should be our mess. Look, I get it. It's bad that he's using chemical weapons on his own people, but there are countries right there, neighbors. There are neighbors there that aren't doing anything about this. Why do we have to fight everybody else's battles? Look, I get it. We like being the hero. We like being the guy that charges into the rescue when little kids getting picked on the playground, and we're able to charge to their rescue, pick them up, dust them off, and beat the crap out of the bully. I get it. It makes us feel good. But we have our own problems. We have veterans starving and dying in the streets, and we're talking about housing illegal immigrants instead of dealing with our veterans that are dying in the streets. We have tons and tons of money that we're basic. I mean, think about the cost of the missiles that we're launching tonight, the bombs that we're dropping tonight. How much do each one of those munitions cost, and how much better could that money have been used to take care of a veteran that had basically written a check with their body up to and including their life, and yet we now have them living in cardboard boxes under overpasses, and they can't afford to get a decent meal or decent health care. But let's go bomb another country because they're using chemical weapons. I get it. They're illegal. But why do we have to be the world's police force?
Because I don't know. I honestly, it's like back to the, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, reading and seeing what's in the abhorrent omnibus bill. I mean, it's like millions of dollars going to this country to promote female police officers. Really? Why is that our responsibility? Why is it our responsibility? I understand to a certain extent money spent in Afghanistan. We went there and we waged war. In Iraq, we went there, we waged war. I get it. I mean, mistakes were made pulling out. That's another one on Obama. I'm going to pull the troops out of Iraq. Well, really? Is it really time to do that? I mean, yeah, you want to do that because it somehow looks good, but what it did was it pretty much wasted everything we had already done. That's another big part of the problem is if we're going to do something, we need to finish it. We never finish it, and then it ends up being a problem again. It's like a snowball that just keeps building. You can't. I mean, I think Afghanistan is just a lost cause, no matter how you look at it. Maybe we need to pull everything out and just cut our losses. And if anybody else in the world wants to deal with it, they can, because Russia lost their butts in Afghanistan. We lost our butts in Afghanistan. Everybody that goes in there loses their butts because you can't get two people to get along in that damn country. But we need to stop. There's got to be a stopping point where we say, look, deal with it. You're in that part of the country. You're next to that country. You're next to that country. You're next to that country. If you don't want those chemical weapons spilling over into your country, deal with it. Get it done on your own. It's time for some tough love around this world. They all depend on us and all flip us off at the same time.
And that's the part
it's all on our backs. It's all on our backs. That's what they don't care in Congress. They don't care in the White House. They're not paying for it. They all have money. They don't care. It's all on our backs. We're the ones paying for it. And maybe people in this country need to start standing up and saying they're sick of it. Because I am, and I say I'm sick of it. And I've been told on a couple of occasions, well, we really need to help those people. They have no way to help themselves. Well, you know what? There's plenty of people here that have no way to help themselves either. When do we start caring about ourselves before we care about everybody else in the world? Because everybody else in the world doesn't care about us. That's why I'm not worried about the whole people say, well, we really don't want to be isolationists. Well, we're really not being isolationists by just saying we want to help ourselves first. We'll help ourselves first, and then we have leftover, we'll be more than plenty happy to help you. So, and I'm always happy to help my neighbor. My neighbor needs help. But I'm not... Here's a funny little thing. When I lived in Maryland, we had a 1 week period where we got like 48 inches of snow. I had 150 feet of 2-lane driveway, part of which was on public land, so I was required by law to keep it clear. And I had a snowblower. And so I was out there blowing the driveway off every 10 inches of snow, making sure it was clear because I had to. I had a neighbor, and he had this little postage stamp driveway that fit 2 cars. And he got mad at me because he was like, hey, can you come over and clear my driveway? Well, at this point, I'm snowed in, and I only had so much gas. And I told him, I said, if I get through this and I have gas left, I'll be more than happy to come to your driveway. He was like, I have gas. I said, well, it's 2-cycle. He was like, well, what's 2-cycle? And I said, it's oil that I have to put in my gas. That's what it runs off of. And he got mad at me. He was like, you're just being selfish. You have that, and you can't come clear my driveway. No, I'm not being selfish. I'll be more than happy to come clear your driveway, but I have to keep mine clear first. Now, was I wrong? Apparently, in the worldview, I was wrong. I should have sacrificed myself to go clear his driveway first.
So here's my thought, because, we keep talking about, how we're the first ones to rush in and render aid. The natural disasters were the first one going over. When is the last time that there was, say, a hurricane and Japan or China or Mexico or anybody else for that matter was sending stuff over here to help us with a natural disaster?
Never. The last time there was anything that happened here that we got any kind of foreign aid was 9/11.
And before that, I'm pretty sure it was like the Revolutionary War.
Probably.
Not exactly, but pretty damn close. I mean, but that's kind of my thing. We need to start realizing at some point we've got to be getting out as much as we're putting in. It's one of those things where it's kind of like, the old adage about a good marriage is, 50-50. That's bullcrap. A good marriage is 100%, 100%. A good relationship is 100%, 100%. You have to know that the person that you're with is 100% as committed as you are, whether it's helping with the laundry, helping to clean the house, whatever it is, about the relationship. You've got to know that you each have each other's backs 100%, or it's not going to work. The same thing can be true politically. We have the back of anybody else who ever needs it. But as soon as we need help, nobody's there.
Well, that's it. And even when I brought up 9/11, do you know why we got aid from other countries in 9/11?
No, but I'm sure you're about to tell folks.
Because they had a great deal of interest in what happens in New York City. Because it had to do with their economies.
All right, so I want to play one more clip because I want to hear this, because this was another clip I think that was kind of a justification as to what we're doing tonight. So I kind of want to hear this. So this is actually from Mattis, it looks like.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the world knows, the Syrian people have suffered terribly under the prolonged brutality of the Assad regime. On April 7th, the regime decided to again defy the norms of civilized people, showing callous disregard for international law by using chemical weapons to murder women, children, and other innocents. We and our allies find these atrocities inexcusable.
Yeah, I find them inexcusable too. So why aren't we just going in and trying to overthrow Assad?
I don't know. That's been my question all along. This guy is apparently the bad guy, the bad actor. That's what everybody says. So why are we not doing anything to depose him if he's the problem? But my question is he actually the problem? Because I seem to remember a certain Russian president telling everyone that if we fired anything into Syria, they were gonna use their new missile defense system to shoot down all of our missiles, planes, bombers, aircraft carrier, all the above. Funny thing is, they left. They gone. So who was making Assad feel safe? enough to decide that it was cool to use chemical weapons on his own people? I give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
Well, I don't think, honestly, I don't think that should matter to us.
Well, no, I'm not saying that it shouldn't matter. But what I'm saying is, at this point, it just seems kind of funny to me that Putin was talking trash about how if anybody tried to attack Syria, he was going to make sure nobody could attack Syria, which probably emboldened this jackass even more. So if Putin's saying that kind of stuff publicly, what the hell has he been whispering in this dude pillow talk-wise for the last 6 months, 8 months, a year that's gotten him thinking it's okay to be using chemical weapons on his own people? So, I mean, yeah, if he is the problem, why are we not dealing with him? But at the same time, we should probably be looking at the guy that's gotten him all of a sudden thumping his chest going, yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want and y'all can't stop me. But I don't understand why we keep winding up here, because 2 weeks ago we said we were done. We were leaving. Now we're bombing. Maybe it's just because I have a son who's 17 years old. There has not been a single day that he has been alive that we have not been at war. Not one single day. So maybe I'm war weary. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why I'm not wrapping myself in the flag tonight, thumping my chest and saying, yeah, finally somebody's standing up again, and we're going to start showing people how things are supposed to be done. Because I've seen plenty of people doing that on Twitter tonight. I'm not that guy tonight. I honestly don't know if I will ever be that guy again, because I keep stopping and I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, there has not been a single day that my 17-year-old son has been alive that we have not been at war. That is a very long time to be at war. That is a very long time to be blowing things up and killing people. And the sad thing is, we don't blow things up and kill people anymore. It's like you said at the beginning of the show. We bomb them for a night, and then we're like, now let's see if you'll behave. If we're going to go to war, then the purpose of war is to kill people and break things. If we're going to go to war, if we're going to turn that machine loose, we need to turn the machine loose. If Assad is the problem, then before we leave, there needs to be nothing left of his entire regime. We have the capability to do it. We are not doing it. So let's stop doing things half-assed, because if we're going to be Team America World Police, then let's be Team America World Police, and let's just become an empire again. Because we're acting like one, why not just become one?
No, you're right. We don't finish anything. We do not finish anything. We start it, and then we go, that's enough. You know, and it really, I'll be honest with you, it goes all the way back to World War II. We sort of finished, but
oh no!
World War if they go on to the recommendations, MacArthur wanted to keep going. He wanted to keep going up through Korea, Vietnam, everything. He wanted to keep going. He was like, if we don't keep going, we're going to end up with more problems. And guess what happened? How many years later were we at war in Korea? He wanted to keep going. He said, if we don't keep going, if we don't keep this going and finish this, we're going to have problems. And guess what happened? They all called him crazy, and a few years later, we had problems. We don't finish.
Well, there's an actual reason we don't finish, and nobody really talks about it. One of the things that happened after World War II, when we realized what devastating power a nuclear weapon was, because I would actually venture to guess that that's one of the last wars where we actually did at least semi-finish, because we basically laid waste to an entire region of a country to get them to leave us the hell alone. But what happened after that was we started having this idea of mutually assured destruction, which was brought about by nuclear weapons. somebody came up with the idea of mutually assured economic destruction. So what they started doing ever since the end of World War II was they started intermingling every country in the world's economy, so that if there ever was a conflict, it's like a spider web at this point. Everything is so interconnected. Everybody's talking about the one world government, new world order, and how everybody wants everything to all be one big happy family. Economically, folks, we're already there. We have been since the 40s. There is an interconnected spider web that connects every single country to each other economically. And the problem with being interconnected like that with a spider web is if you hit one part of the spider web too hard, all of it falls apart. And everybody that's working on this stuff behind the scenes knows it. That's why, I mean, if you look, ever since World War II, the last time that we got anywhere near the point where we actually finished a conflict, we have not finished a conflict. We've remained in police actions. We're still in Korea, for God's sake, since the 50s. We're still there. It's an ongoing police action. Vietnam. Everybody says Vietnam War's over. The hell it is. It's still an ongoing police action. We've got police actions now going on in Iraq, Afghanistan, now Syria. That's what we do anymore. We don't do wars, we do police actions. But that's because if we did what we used to do in war, the entire world would collapse. Because if one economy crumbles, the rest of them go with them. That's why the EU started panicking when Greece was on fire. That's why the EU started propping up Greece when Greece was on fire. Because it was taking the entire EU with it, and it was about to take the rest of the world with it too. Because of this idea that somebody came up with of mutually assured economic destruction. That's the problem that we have. As much as we talk about it and as much as we gripe about it, the simple fact of the matter is we can't bomb somebody back to the Stone Age because the rest of us would eventually wind up going there with them. I don't like it any more than anybody else, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying since we can't be Team America World Police and actually do it the right way, let's just effing stop. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be an ass, but if Assad wants to use chemical weapons on his own damn people, Assad is the ruler of that country, and he has the ability to rule however he sees fit. If we don't like it, then we have the ability to influence it by talking up the people in the region to do something about it. That's how we used to handle conflicts like this. We weren't the ones at the head of it. We were the ones that were actually trying to make other people in the area understand, you can't have this guy doing this because eventually when he's done bombing his own people, he's going to come bomb you. That used to be how this stuff used to work. It was called human intelligence. It's what started the spy game in the first place. Was we didn't want to put our own people in harm's way, so we would find a way to get people to implement the things that we wanted them to do and find a crafty, shady way to get it done. Do I like it? No, not really, but it works because at least our people aren't in the way, and it works because at least people in those areas are actually taking care of their own stuff instead of making us do it. When we're already broke. I mean, look at, when is the last time, when Obama was in office, you couldn't turn on the news without seeing the debt clock. When is the last time we saw a debt clock?
Oh, it's still climbing.
I know, but when is the last time you actually saw somebody talking about it? Besides us.
I haven't. Been a while.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so we're kind of really, really long on a break. We're going to pay some bills. When we come back, we actually had a few other things we wanted to talk about, but since Syria happened while I was at dinner, I kind of figured we should probably open with that. This is the Robinson and Rice Show. We'll be back. Don't go away. Team America World Police. Yay, go us.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
I forgot how long that was. I was going to try to let it play till the yelled click, click, boom, since we're blowing things up. But that's pretty long. So anyway, yeah, we've been mostly talking about Syria and Team America World Police back on the beat, and everybody's thumping their chest. Look, I get it. I got lots of Warhawk friends on Twitter. The funny thing is, and this is one of the things that really drives me crazy about my Warhawk friends on Twitter, is when it's a Republican president lobbing missiles somewhere. Oh, no, see, history proves he doesn't need the approval of Congress because we did it here, 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 here. If a Democratic president lobs missiles at an aspirin factory, why didn't he get approval from Congress before he started throwing missiles somewhere? I'm tired. The double standard sucks. I don't care who you are.
It does.
So anyway, speaking of double standards...
something that it's been kind of on my radar for the last few days. Apparently, well, really the last few months, apparently England has now legalized post-birth abortion.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Now we have another child whose parents have the means and the way to save their child, and a hospital in England is saying, no, we're going to apply for child care and we're going to support and let them die.
Now, the part of this that I see, because I almost understand their perspective, with English medicine being as socialized as it is because of the excess cost to the state, etc. But we're talking about parents that basically signed basically what we would call an AMA, against medical advice. They were basically going to remove the child from the hospital. They had arranged transport to take the child to a completely different country to get treatment at their own expense, which would have left the country of Great Britain off the hook for any future expenses. So I don't understand, because this isn't the first time this has happened. There was another situation that drug out for...
This is the third time.
Yeah, this is the third time.
At least known about.
But I know...
That's widely known about.
Yeah, but I know there was another one where eventually there were people that had stepped up and said, look, we're even willing to pay to make sure that this kid gets to come here and at least try the experimental treatment. And the judge in the hospital still said no, which was the last one that I knew about. And that's the part of this that I guess I don't understand, because the justification that I keep hearing from the hospital is, we don't have any idea what the child's quality of life would have been. It's cost prohibitive to the state because of the fact that we have government-run healthcare here. But you're talking about children that would have been removed from the government-run healthcare, taken to completely different countries, and received treatments that were being paid for out of pocket. Who are you, as the state, to tell me what quality of life you feel my child should have when they have an illness that is terminal, but somebody else is offering me even a shot at trying to make sure my child is okay?
Well, that, and now the mother has been barred from even entering the child's room. So now they have gotten a court order to bar her from seeing her son before they pull life support from him and he passes. This is evil. This is just evil, is what it is. It's evil, and it is pro-birth abortion. It's them deciding, instead of the parents, on whether that child could possibly have a quality of life, and them determining what quality of life is. This is what progressives want in this country. Think about that. This is exactly the healthcare system that progressives want in this country, where the hospital determines what your quality of life will be. Where if I have a stroke tomorrow and I'm in the hospital recovering from a stroke, the doctors could literally tell my loved ones, well, his quality of life, he's not going to be able to speak really well. He may not be able to comprehend really well. Really, we should just pull and let him go. That is the healthcare progressives want in this country.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, those of us that have been paying attention to it have been saying that now for decades, and we have been laughed at, we have been pointed out, we have been made fun of, told that we were a bunch of tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists, that there would never be anything remotely resembling a death panel, not only here, but ever in Great Britain. And yet, now they basically have death panels in Great Britain.
They have judges telling parents what the fate of their child is, while the rest of the world is going, let him come here. We can help him. Nope. We're going to make this decision here. And, by the way, Mom and Dad, you're barred from seeing your child, and we're just going to pull the ventilator.
That's just wrong.
Human beings are doing this. What does that say about the state of human beings in the world right now?
I'm not sure I would consider the people that are doing this human beings, at least not in that sense of the world, because in the word, I don't see how you could have a soul and do some of the things that it's not just here. I mean, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, I don't understand how as the leader of a country you could use chemical weapons on your own people, and then how he sleeps at night. I mean, there's just so much of a disconnect now. And it's not just there. I mean, we're talking about in Great Britain, now they basically have post-birth abortion. We've seen article after article after article of here in this country, babies from being born prematurely, anywhere from 20 to 24 weeks, that are now years later thriving children, happy children, but we keep being told, well, they wouldn't be viable from outside of the womb at that point anyway, which we know is now not true. And yet it's the same argument. It's the clump of cells, so it doesn't matter because it's not really a baby. But you can see that even at 14, 15, 16 weeks on, it looks just like a tiny human child, but they've desensitized themselves to it. That's the problem. We have the world has desensitized themselves to everything. We don't have empathy anymore. We're not thinking about the parents and the gut-wrenching feeling of the parents realizing that the life of their child is slipping away, and even though there's even the chance that they might be able to do something, the state is standing in front of them and telling them, no, we know better what your child needs than you do, and your child needs to just be left to die. Now we need to take this a step further, because the state in England is the same as the state here. They think there's nothing left. So when the state tells you that your child needs to die, what the state is telling you is that there's nothing after this life. So we need to just let the child go, because being gone is better than being here. Now you imagine how terrifying that would be to somebody who honestly thinks there is nothing but this life. That one day they're just going to go to sleep, they're never going to wake up again, and they're just going to be gone. You imagine the fear that the state would be instilling in these people unless they have some sort of a faith to cling to and a hope that even if this child passes at some point, they may get a chance to see that child again. You imagine the turmoil that they're inflicting, all because they have control of the purse strings. This is maddening. And the scariest thing about it isn't that it's happening in Great Britain, because again, when it comes right down to it, to me, it's not that much different than Syria gassing its own people. This is another country. Why I'm concerned about it and why I talk about it as much as I do isn't because it's happening in Great Britain. It's because it is this close to happening here. And nobody's talking about it because we keep acting like, oh, that's never going to happen here. There's no way that will ever happen here. It's already happening here. They're ripping children from the womb that would be viable with a little bit of medical intervention if necessary. So you're telling me it's never going to happen here, but it's already happening here.
Well, yeah, and it's the same mentality here that you see in people like, I'll put a name out there, Sally Cohn, who seems to be this Islamist apologist, and I don't understand. She's a lesbian. She's an Islamist apologist and a lesbian. If she lived in one of these Islamist countries and they found out she was a lesbian, they would throw her from a roof or stone her to death. She's an apologist for a religion where the radicals in the religion will put a bunch of people in a cage and douse them in gasoline and sand back and set them on fire. Or put them in a cage and drown them. Or line them up in front of a pit that they made them dig and blindfold them and put rifles to the back of all their heads and shoot them because they didn't agree with them. And progressives in this country will say that we need to be understanding of this. This is what happens with progressivism. This is what happens. Progressivism is essentially socialism. Socialism is essentially communism. It's total state control over you, your family, your children, what happens to them when they're sick, when they're healthy, when they have a problem. It's total state control. And it's totally not what this country is supposed to be. This country is supposed to be the exact opposite of that. This is what progressivism gets you. It gets the state saying, no, we know that you could take your child somewhere else, but what would his quality of life be? We just rule that we're going to pull the plug and we're going to kill your child. This is what it gets you. And I don't understand what the romanticism for this is all about. People don't read history anymore. They think the government is supposed to do everything for them. That's what the government does for you. They bar you from seeing your child and say, we're going to pull the plug because we don't think your child's going to have a quality of life.
Well, I mean,
this is what happens. This is what happens.
But that's what happens when you have an entire group of people that think the government is basically your parent. I mean, the left is notorious about that. I mean, I even remember there was something Michelle Obama said a couple of weeks ago about the country was kind of going through it right now because it was like Barack Obama was the good parent that made you eat your vegetables and do the things that you didn't necessarily want to do, and now everybody's got a tummy ache because they've been bouncing off the walls, jumping on the couch, and eating all the candy. That's what I'm talking about. The left has this analogy of the nanny state where the government is ultimately the parent of every citizen, and that's not the case. At least it shouldn't be the case. But that's what's happening in Great Britain right now. The state has stepped in and said, even though you are the parents of this child, as far as we're concerned, we as the state know better both what you need and what your child needs, so we're telling you no, because we can. The state should never, never be able to tell you, if you have the means, that you don't have a right to try to save your child's life. And that's what we're talking about in this country today. We're talking about the fact that whether you like it or not, usually in this country, we are about 10 to 15 years behind the bell curve when it comes to what's going on with Great Britain. I don't know why, because we fought a war to get away from these douche nozzles, and ever since we fought the war to get away from these douche nozzles, we're typically anywhere from 10 to 15 years behind whatever they have going on in their country, coming over here and messing with our country. But again, a lot of it is because from the day this country was founded, there have been people behind the scenes trying to reestablish the status quo. We were the first country in the world that was created without a caste system or a class system. Do you know in this country there never used to be such a thing as lower class, middle class, upper class? There was no class. There was well, you can take that however you want it, but there was no class system. There were Americans. We were Americans. Didn't matter if you were a rich American, a poor American, you're an American. And I have news for you. Except for those of us that are sleeping in cardboard boxes, and even in some cases those people, and sleeping under overpasses and eating out of dumpsters, we're the richest poor country on the planet. I mean, you think about the people coming over here from places like Africa that see we've got poor people with cars and 52-inch big screen TVs, but they're poor.
Yeah, it's amazing how many poor people in this country are obese.
Well, that's because the bad food's the cheap food. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, but they're still eating.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get that, but I'm just saying one of the things that we have completely backwards in this country is the stuff that's really, really bad for you, you can get for $1. The stuff that you should be eating costs you 10. I mean, I had that problem a lot because when I was building my own company for the longest time, I was eating things like for lunches, I was getting like $1 cheeseburgers and taking packages of ramen noodles. Have you ever actually looked at what's in a package of ramen noodles? That ain't food.
Salt.
That ain't food.
It's salt and wheat.
I mean, anymore, I don't even think it's really got wheat in it. It's like you're eating salted asbestos or some crap. I mean, I don't even think it's food anymore. I mean, I've seen study after study after study where people have died from eating that stuff. And I honestly have to say, since I pretty much stopped eating it, I feel a lot better. But that's part of the problem, is the over-processed, really cheaply made stuff is what is readily available. That's like everybody talks about back in the day when sugar used to be really, really expensive. That's because back in the day, sugar actually used to be sugar. The stuff that we're using now is so completely overprocessed, it's not even sugar. Hell, half the time you can buy sugar at a store for like $1 something a pound, but it's made from beets instead of canes, and it's terrible for you. And then the sodas that used to be really expensive and used to be, maybe a once-a-month treat on your way home from church or something. Now they make them with high fructose corn syrup and everything else to make it as cheap as possible. So now you can get bottles and bottles and bottles of the stuff readily on hand whenever you want. That stuff will kill you. And I say that as somebody that drinks it on a regular basis, which makes me Dane Bramage. I understand this because I know how bad it is for me, and I still drink it.
Well, you know where I'm coming from when I say this. My brother and I both we don't have a gluten allergy, but we have a wheat allergy. And my brother calls wheat amber waves of death. The human body, I've studied this because I have a wheat allergy. The human body literally is not made to process wheat. Now go to your grocery store and pull anything off the shelf. And I will guarantee you that 8 out of 10 things you pull off the shelf, any given place, is going to have wheat in it. We really are not made to process wheat. We are a country that lives on bread and pasta. And we are not made to process wheat. Doctors have proven it. Wheat is not good for us, especially the wheat here. And it's not the wheat because of the way it's grown or because of the farmers, the way it's processed. The way it's processed is horrible for us. And it's in everything. I can't eat a can of Campbell's soup. Every single kind of Campbell's soup has wheat in it. And they just put it in there for filler. That's all it is. It's not to make it, well, maybe it is to make it better. Maybe it makes it taste better. I don't know. But I will tell you, when I found out that I had a wheat problem, they thought it was a gluten problem, I stopped eating wheat. 1 month without eating wheat, I lost 35 pounds. And I was eating like a pig, but I didn't eat wheat. I lost 35 pounds in a month by just not eating wheat.
Maybe I should give up wheat. All right, so one last topic I wanted to go over real quick, and we've actually already gone long, so we'll probably have to wrap after that unless you've got anything else you want to talk about. So the New Yorker is kind of having a bit of a flip out. Since we were ranting most of the show, I thought we'd end on something a little funny. So apparently, the first standalone Chick-fil-A location opened in 2015 in New York City. Apparently, Mayor de Blasio at that point proposed a boycott. However, the city of New York seems to have embraced Chick-fil-A as more and more stores are opening. So the New Yorker puts out a nice little headline grab line today. Chick-fil-A's arrival in New York City feels like an infiltration. in no small part because of its pervasive Christian traditionalism. So I have a question. What the hell is Christian traditionalism about not being open on Sunday? Because it's the Lord's Day, or is it because they just wanted to basically make sure that there was a day that these people could spend with their families without having to worry about chicken? Because I have to tell you, I'm not so convinced that it's... I know everybody has bought into it and said that they think it's because he's this great Christian, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not so sure about that, because apparently they're building some restaurants in Vegas. And guess what? Those restaurants are going to be open on Sundays. Because it's Vegas, and Vegas never sleeps.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The whole closing on Sunday thing, I've been around Chick-fil-A almost my whole life. It's partially because, yes, the founders are very Christian. But the Sunday thing it wasn't that we're closing on Sundays so that everybody can go to church that works for us. It was, we're closing on Sundays because it's the day we'd like to have the day off, and we would like to know that all of our employees have a day off. Which I've worked in restaurants, and I've worked 7 days a week. I would have liked some of the restaurants I worked in to have had a day when they were closed. Honestly, Sunday would be great, but I wouldn't care if they said Monday were closed. I do know that there are some restaurants and businesses around here that actually close on Monday. It's not financially sound for them to close on Sunday because, especially with the restaurants I'm talking about, they do a very hefty brunch business, right? So they close on Monday, but they give their employees a day off. And that is the basis behind the Sundays being closed for Chick-fil-A, is to give their employees, to ensure that all of their employees have at least one day off a week. Now, if the New Yorker wants to complain, that's fine. If the employees at the New Yorker don't want to eat at Chick-fil-A because they think they're overly Christian or whatever, that's fine. They'll be missing out. Like I said earlier on Twitter, they'll be missing out on not only the best chicken sandwich they'll ever have, but also receiving the best service they will ever receive from a fast food restaurant. Because if you've never been to a Chick-fil-A, the service is impeccable.
Dude,
it is impeccable.
Chick-fil-A is the bomb. The funniest thing about them being closed on Sundays is I've actually, because, it's probably one of the reasons why I'm a fat kid, but I spend way too much time watching Food Network. I have actually seen some Sunday restaurant shows where people have talked about what we've done is we've found a way to get as close to the Chick-fil-A recipe as possible and then put a spin on it, and we sell them on the weekends because Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday, so people come get these great tasting chicken sandwiches from us instead. I was like, now that's smart thinking since you're already open anyway. But, all right, so we have run long. I know I told everybody I was going to do a late night off the rails, but I'm deciding to call an audible because the wife's going to be out of town for most of the day tomorrow, so I'm probably going to do one probably mid-morning-ish instead because it's been a really long week, and we have really high winds right now, so I'm surprised my internet has held up as well as it has. Not to mention the fact that my entire state is covered in smoke right now, so my lungs are not doing as well as they could be doing otherwise. For those of you who don't know, there's like 22,000 acres on fire in like northeastern or northwestern Oklahoma right now, and it's bad enough that me, being all the way down here about 100 miles from the border with Texas, we're covered in smoke. That's how bad it is. So that should tell you how much of my state is on fire right now. Also, because of the fact that we've been really hard on the president tonight because of what's going on with Syria, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I don't like what the president has done, but he's the president and he made the decision. As much as I'm saying I wish we hadn't done it, it was technically his decision to make. I also support our troops, so I urge every single one of you, take a moment and pray for our troops tonight, pray for our allies, and let's hope that everybody comes home safe.
Absolutely. And how does it feel to live in California?
I know, right? My entire state's on fire. Now I know how it feels to live in California. All right. Anything else you want to say on the way out?
No. Like you said, support our troops. I'm with you. I'm not happy with this decision, but it's the decision our president has made, and I will support everybody involved in doing what they're doing, because it's what they have to do, and they're doing it for us. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Whether we feel it's the right decision or not, they're doing it to protect us, I guess.
Well, I mean, that's the justification behind it anyway, so I guess we will see. All right, folks, we will be back next week. Provided I can breathe tomorrow, we'll do a weekend edition of America Off the Rails. And then I will be back with you again on Monday. Hope everybody enjoys your night. Again, as a reminder, see, this is another reason why I'm not doing a late night show. Can't talk, can't do it. But just take a second, whether it's prayers, positive thoughts, moment of silence, whatever you got. We got folks in harm's way again tonight, where we've had folks in harm's way for pretty much my son's entire lifetime. So let's continue to hold those folks up. We're out. Take care. God bless.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.